I'm delighted to be back in Hangzhou. This is a city I have visited many times, and I find both the city and this campus both delightful, as well as the people who I find stimulating and engaging. I'm not a designer, so I think that's really important to say, but I have been involved in the world of design for the last 40 years, and what I have always felt is that it is the value of design which has not yet truly been recognized in the world. And I think I have, in the various roles that I have played over the last 40 years, really emphasized how can I really put across the value that design brings to the world. So that's really, in a sense, what I'm going to cover for much of what I talk about today. So who am I? So I've been involved in the world of design for 40 years. I started my working life with a company called Cadbury's selling chocolate. Well, not much to do with design about that, but I moved into retail and consultancy world. And then for the last 5 years of my life, my working life, I spent running a thing called the Design Council in the UK. And the Design Council is still renowned as one of the leading institutions for helping to promote the value of design. The last 2 years of my life I've spent doing a thing called the British Design Fund, and I will tell you a little bit about that later on. So what I'm going to talk about is the importance of communicating the value of design. Much of what has been done today, and the speakers are fantastic, and they talk about the value of design and the role that design plays. But they're talking to you, and you understand that, and you get that. The really important thing, and what I've tried to do all my life, is speak to the people who don't understand that, and who need to understand why design is important. And really, it's understanding the different roles that design can play. Design is one of those words which is fantastic and really difficult, because it means different things to virtually every person you say it to. And of course, design still has a role in terms of style and form and function, but increasingly it has a role in problem solving and in framing the way that companies, governments, cultures form themselves and work. And of course, we know for many years that the companies who invest in design continue to outperform those companies who do not invest in design. And there are many, many studies, the Design Council has done several of them, that demonstrate that. And it was a few years ago that the Design Council also produced this piece of work called the Design Economy. And for the first time, we actually measured the value that design brings to the UK economy. And as you can see on this chart, it's almost £72 billion worth of value. And that's around 7.5% of the total output of the UK economy. Now that makes politicians and leaders sit up and recognize why the design industry is an important industry to focus on. And importantly, the design economy, as we call it, is getting bigger year on year, and it's growing faster than other sectors within the UK. And of course, what we did for the first time was we said, design isn't just design agencies. Design is where it works in automotive, in aerospace, in retail, and that had never been done before, that sort of measurement. Another piece of work which looked at small and medium-sized businesses tracked how much return for every £1 or every £1 spent on design. There was a 4-fold increase in profit, a 20-fold increase in turnover, jobs grew, and exports grew. And when you can actually use that information meaningfully, then it starts to tell the story very well. There's a guy called John Kampfner who runs the Creative Industries Federation in the UK, and he says design is the 21st century business model, and I like to use that one a lot. So design can play a key role, particularly for me in identifying new opportunities, making sure that new products and services really do meet a need, and then making sure that customers really appreciate the experience. And for me, it's service design and customer experience, particularly in the world of the digital, that is going to continue to drive growth in the future. Service design for me is the single most important driver of a positive emotional experience. One of my particular favorites, because I'm an occasional but enthusiastic cyclist, is a brand called Rapha. And Rapha is all-encompassing. It understands its users, it meets their needs, and it makes you feel part of the family. So it has everything from Rapha stores to Rapha clothes to the Rapha app, which allows you to share the length of time you've had done on your ride. Apple, for me, had that same feel too once. There was a time, many of the older designers here will remember, when Apple was actually quite a niche brand, a very small brand, not the uniform brand that it is today. But it still means a huge amount to many, many people, and it's not been done haphazardly. Led by Jonathan Ive. Jonathan Ive is a British-trained service designer. Apple has focused on getting every touch point right. So as you can see from this chart, even when occasionally they get it wrong, the strength of the brand means that people still feel very strongly and keep faith with the Apple brand. This is Johnny. He's the Chief Design Officer at Apple, and I don't think Apple would be here today and the brand that it is if it wasn't having somebody like him at a very senior level within the company. So for me, the 20th century marketing perspective of making people want things has transitioned to a 21st century approach of making things that people want. And design, with its focus on users, I think is the route through which brands will either succeed or fail. And I suspect that one day soon, all really successful companies will have designers at board level. So my prediction is that within 5 years' time, any company who genuinely values their customer and has a commitment to serving them will have a chief design officer or the equivalent at the very heart of the organization. So I wanted to tell you about two things that I'm now involved in, where I'm working with design and designers to add value in different ways. The first, pressing the wrong thing. The first is with a university in the UK, and it's Falmouth University, and I thought I'd show you this picture to show you why I'm very pleased to be working with Falmouth University. It's in a wonderful location in the southwest of the country. And it's very successfully launched an initiative called Launchpad. Now, Launchpad is where it is helping design graduates move from the university to meet companies who need their help to create new ideas and bring them to fruition. It's also a way for the university to engage in the wider economic growth agenda of Cornwall, which is where it's located. Over the next few years, we anticipate that over 60 new companies will be created with over 500 jobs. And it's a way of actually leveraging the skills that you're learning here at university and actually putting them into real practice with real companies in a way which I think in the future more and more universities will start to be doing. Now, don't get me wrong. So these are the numbers that back that up. Now, don't get me wrong. I've got nothing against technology, but one of the things that I've noticed today is that everyone is talking about the importance of technology. There is also a market where great design can bring great value to products and services that are not necessarily technology-based. And there was a gap in the market in the UK, which I saw, where products and services that needed follow-on funding from startup just weren't getting that sort of funding. So we set up a thing called the British Design Fund 18 months ago. And it aims to support very early stage product and services businesses by giving them funding as well as access to a wide range of mentors, from those with business and accounting skills to those with sales, marketing, design and manufacturing skills. We've already invested in 5 products, and all of them have design at the very heart of what they do. But I'd quickly like to tell you about one of them, and I think it just demonstrates how what you've really got to do is understand the user and design products that meet that user need. One of the biggest challenges that I think many of us as judges saw yesterday when we were judging the wonderful entries was that the ones that really came through very strongly were products that you could see were fulfilling a need that users had. And unfortunately, an awful lot of products that we saw were simply technology for technology's sake. So let me tell you about Jenny. Now, Jenny is the founder of CAA shoes. She's only in her mid-30s, but like almost a third of women in the UK and across Europe, and I don't know about China, she has a thing called bunions, which affect her feet very badly. And it's a real challenge because there just aren't any really comfortable shoes which are also stylish and fashionable. She had a solution. Shoes which had design at their heart, recognizing that women will pay a premium for shoes that really do look good and are supremely comfortable. So since we've invested in CAA, Jenny's turnover has grown tenfold, her customers have become even more loyal, and she has won multiple awards. But let's hear from Jenny herself.
My name is Jenny Bailey, and I'm the founder of CAA, We are a brand of beautiful and stylish footwear, specially designed to fit the feet of bunion-inflicted ladies everywhere. The reason I set up this company is because I've had bunions for all my life, and when you've got bunions, because of the way that it changes the shape of the foot, it means that trying to find stylish, beautiful footwear for special occasion or even for day-to-day wear for work is almost impossible. So I didn't want to live my days out in ugly comfort footwear, so kind of things that conjure up in your mind when you say bunion footwear are Velcro straps and, you know, quite clunky, large looking shoes, and I was no way ready to start wearing shoes like that. Bunions are a significant problem. When I started doing the research, I knew that there would be other women like me who had bunions because I had friends and family who'd mentioned that they had them as well. But the stats measure up to around a third of all women in each Western country, so you know, UK, Europe, USA, Canada, suffer from bunions. So in the UK, that's around 10 million women. The British Design Fund have specifically helped me in a couple of areas that I was struggling with. One of them was trying to find mentors in areas like really high profile mentors in retail, and who could help me understand the journey from where I am now and to where I want to get to. And they in turn have introduced me to their networks that I couldn't possibly have had access to up in Manchester specifically, because these are all London based. They've been brilliant and really helped with the strategy and the direction of where the business is going to go to. It's really weird when you start a business, because you know where you want to be, but actually getting there and thinking that you're going to hit all those targets is like it's a different matter, which is why having the investment and the support of British Design Fund has been so great. But I'm looking to hit around a £5 million turnover in the next few years, 3 to 4 years. That's ideally where I'd like to be. And if we can keep going the way that we're going and picking up, you know, so maybe some retail and the growth worldwide that we're getting at the moment, then I think that we can achieve that.
So what I'd like you to do and take away from what I've been saying today is realize that your future in the roles that you play once you leave university is about adding value wherever you partake, whether you run your own company, whether you are involved in your own startup, or whether you work for the largest operation in China. You add value, and you should be valued, and you should be recognized, and I hope you are. Thank you very much.